Hi, I'm Linz. Welcome to Becoming Everwell, a channel where we talk about the ongoing journey of becoming. In today's life learning episode for Midlife You, we're talking about choosing your kids' comfort over choosing your own ambition. I make sense of life by writing about real everyday stuff that makes us who we are. Some of these snapshots are fun, some are more serious. Maybe they'll open up something in you too. Let's grow. My son had a viral moment in 2019, the kind where Ellen DeGeneres' and Kelly Clarkson's team tracked me down to try to get a hold of him. A wild ride accurately describes it, but with an unexpected ending and a big life-learning twist. First, the story. While out getting exercise one morning where I live, I found a beaten-up Ford decal on the side of the road. A fender bender must have caused it to come loose from some car. I noticed and thought of my then 5-year-old son. His name is Patch. Patch loved cars since he could play. Anything with wheels delighted him beyond measure. And by 5, some kids had moved on to dinosaurs or Star Wars or Lego, but not Patch. Cars were it. He was all in. So I picked up the Ford emblem and brought it home, thinking he might like it. Well, nothing could have thrilled him more. This Ford emblem became his version of treasure, his most valuable thing. And Ford, above all other car brands, became the gold standard for Patch. Then he had an idea. Perhaps he could get more emblems from other car companies, more treasure. Perhaps, he thought, they'd have some extra ones lying around on the factory floors. So we came up with a plan. We'd write letters to all the car companies we could think of and ask them if perhaps they had any decals up for grabs. We first got pictures of Patch next to all the car decals that we could find on parked cars in various lots in town. Then he narrated a letter that I'd typed up for him. In the letter, he introduced himself, described how he'd obtained his Ford decal and how he's the biggest fan of cars. And he wrote that he has a dream to collect all the car decals he can. He signed each letter and taped a coin from his allowance to the letter, his idea. Then he cut out logos of the car brands and pasted them to the envelopes. I Googled the addresses for corporate headquarters of the car companies, and we mailed them off, all 50 or so letters. A few weeks later, packages started arriving. The first was from Jeep, then Mercedes, Volvo, Lincoln, VW, Tesla, Rolls-Royce, DeLorean, to name a few. Here's a video of one of my favorites when he received the package from Volvo.
Oh my gosh, what did you get?
They sent me a hat. Oh my gosh, they sent me my penny back.
They did? Let me see.
And they sent me a decal.
Oh my
And
god!
a hat.
Oh my god!
And it's sealed.
I think it's a frisbee.
Yeah, it's a frisbee.
Oh.
And the decal.
Patch was thrilled by all of this attention from the car companies. I hadn't saved all the original mailing addresses that we used, and some of the car companies sent packages without return addresses where thank you notes could be sent. So in our effort to thank these generous investors in Patch's dream, I connected with a college friend, Ezra Dyer, who is a freelance automotive writer. I asked if he could help us reach these folks through his connections, and he decided to help Patch say thanks by writing an article that got published on the Popular Mechanics website. And it went viral. People everywhere liked Patch, and they felt connected to his dream. That's when Ellen DeGeneres' team called, and same with Kelly Clarkson's team. And CBS News even came to our home to do a feel-good expo on Patch. Now brace yourself. Ford reached out, and they invited Patch to spend a day at Ford World Headquarters in Dearborn, Michigan, and I got to be his guest. So we boarded a plane and had a VIP day on Ford's campus. This was 2019, and Bronco's top secret relaunch was in the works. after signing an NDA, we got to see the life-size clay model of the new Bronco. Patch then got to have a virtual reality experience in a Mustang. We also went to the Ford F-150 truck factory where he got a full tour and noticed that there are absolutely no decals on the factory floor. In fact, there was not a mess in sight. We also learned that these decals are called badges in car talk. We then went to the badge factory where Patch got to operate equipment and make a bunch of Ford badges himself. Getting right in there with fellow factory workers was totally his jam. And then we got a surprise visit from none other than Henry Ford III, who gifted Patch a personalized kid-size Mustang of his own. News stations showed up to interview us. Patch collected so much treasure at Ford that it had to be mailed. It was an unimaginably fabulous adventure for my car-loving kiddo. Oh, and Patch subsequently got invited to Ford Nationals a few months later in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, where he was a celebrity judge, was the marshal of the parade, and where the mayor named the day after him. Yeah, June 1st, 2019, in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, is Patch Hurdy Day. It also happened to be the weekend that he turned 7, so the folks at Ford made him a cake and a grandstand full of spectators saying happy birthday to him. Ford wrote an article and took footage about the experiences, and I've linked them below, so I hope you'll check them out. And throughout this whole experience, that original viral article by Ezra Dyer and that CBS News bit, which are both linked below as well, garnered the attention of hundreds of thousands of car enthusiasts worldwide who saw themselves in Patch's passion and spirit, and many of them gifted Patch parts of their collection too. So much mail arrived. He even got 2 front grills sent to him. In the end, his collection grew to over 400 unique car badges and loads of memorabilia. Patch's dream came true, and then some. As for me, someone with basically no interest in cars before this experience, I was blown away by the car enthusiast subculture that saw the value of Patch and his passion. And my entrepreneurial drive glowed up. He was a beloved viral sensation, and admittedly, I was taken by it. As the momentum of Patch's fame escalated, I had vision for how we could grow a valuable business out of Patch's persona. I imagined opportunity, fun, and dollar signs. I drafted ideas for a children's book, a passion project workbook, and car-themed trading cards, all with Patch's car-loving kid brand at the center of the marketing. But amidst all the hoopla, I also started to notice that Patch's dream didn't seem to include my entrepreneurial vision. For instance, when talk shows want to bring on guests who are regular kids, like Patch, they conduct pre-interviews. And when Patch had the preliminary interviews with both Ellen's team and Kelly's team over Zoom, Patch felt awkward and didn't like the experience. He seemed to subtly repel the idea of going on a talk show stage to be publicly interviewed in front of a big, live, unfamiliar audience. Sure, he has a fun and outgoing personality that shone through in many ways throughout his car badge journey, but it became obvious that Patch was not on this ride for the fame. Like, not at all. He was simply a curious, excitable, car-loving kid who wanted to grow his collection. So even though in my heart, I really wanted to ride on Patch's coattails and go to the talk shows in LA and design products that many more car-loving kids would likely revel in, for Patch, being featured in these ways was not who he's wired to be. My offshoot dream wasn't part of his original dream. So although it wasn't easy for me to let go of the path that I would have chosen, we ultimately chose not to pursue the shows. And further, I decided to extinguish my business ideas for what could have been Patch's brand. Eventually, the mail delivery slowed down until one day when they unceremoniously stopped. And what's left of the experience is a homemade album detailing Patch's full experience and a museum-worthy display of car badges in his bedroom. And that's it, a dream fulfilled. We moved on, and although he continues to be a car enthusiast with potent memories of his Ford experience, his interests have since expanded. His football card collection is his latest passion, for instance. So, what is there to learn here? Well, I've got 3 big takeaways. The first is one meaningful connection can lead to gold. For Patch and for me, this whole adventure started with one badge that was left for trash on the side of the road. One badge led to bounty. It's that simple. And the same is true for us in life and in business. One meaningful connection can be all that it takes to get what you're wanting. Number 2, making meaningful connections requires intention. A meaningful connection is a little spark made from something real. It's not magic, and it won't just happen if we're not engaged in trying to make it happen. And it could be such a little spark that it's invisible to many. With that Ford badge on the side of the road, for instance, I'm sure tons of people walked on by before I picked it up. Sure, maybe those people didn't have a car-loving collector in their worlds, or maybe they just weren't thinking like connectors. The key here is getting acutely intentional about making meaningful connections so that you can make and maintain relationships that will do for you what Patch's relationships did for him. They enabled him to pursue his dream. And one way to start doing this is by deciding to serve as a bridge to make meaningful connections happen for others, like Ezra Dyer did for us by writing that viral article in the first place, and like I did for Patch by picking up the roadside badge and giving it to him. By choosing to be one who connects others in meaningful ways, others will think more to connect you to others in meaningful ways. And number 3, when dreams are fulfilled, listen to the dreamer before growing the dream. This was the hardest life learning for me to grasp. When my son's dream ignited an entrepreneurial vision for me, I easily could have gone forth full steam to pursue it, because my dream depended on his involvement. And since I've got the power as his mom, I probably could have manipulated the scenario and convinced him to get on board. And truth is, I considered it. But an honest gut check with my best friend, who's also Patch's godmother, ultimately helped me figure out that although my ideas for Patch's potential brand were a no-brainer from a business perspective, they also clashed in potentially detrimental ways with Patch's personhood. It wasn't a ride that he wanted to take, which means that it wouldn't have been healthy for his growth. His inauthentic involvement would have been to appease me, and that could have led to a world of resentment, frustration, and pain later on for him and in our relationship. By pausing long enough to thoughtfully read the situation, I determined that as his mom, I didn't want to snatch or manipulate his dream for my gain. Ultimately, it came down to me articulating to myself that I value his nature and his evolving life more than I do my ambition. And this seems like a pertinent moment to note that with every Substack essay I write or YouTube essay that I publish that involves my kids, I get their permission. Patch has given me the green light to share this story. Looking back, I'm so grateful that Patch pursued his passion, and subsequently that he and our whole family experienced a unique and incredible set of circumstances because of him. What a privileged, lucky, and exhilarating ride we all got to have. And also, as a mom first, I'm humbled by the life learning it opened up for me as well. Here's to growing forward. Thanks for being here and for enjoying my sweet boy Patch and his journey with Ford. It was really fun. Your likes, subscribes, shares, views, it all matters a lot to me. I really appreciate you helping me grow on this platform. And feel free to check out everything that I offer at lindsayhurdy.com, especially my Forever Letter writing services. Click on Work with Lindsay, click on Legacy Work, and you will see what this is all about. If you've got a love letter that you want to write to someone who really matters to you, I can help you. I can help you get it down on the page. Thanks so much for being here. Until next time. Be sure to like and subscribe and click that bell to get alerts for new posts. I'd be ever grateful.